Broadly additive manufacturing lets us rethink how products, processes, and business models are built. You can use 3D printing to prototype more quickly, get customer feedback, and then if you can turn that product over to be digitally manufactured, you can rethink your distribution of resources along that manufacturing process and through your supply chain. And you no longer have to keep physical inventory and potentially ship that all the way across the world, but you can produce the parts on demand, and there's a business and operational premium to that as well. At the start of the COVID-19 crisis, we couldn't go to work, we couldn't go to the shop or the lab, and in some cases our supply chains were broken. So here came 3D printing in response to the critical supply shortages here in the US. For instance, the nasal swabs needed for COVID-19 testing. And this resulted in not only the production of large quantities of those nasal swabs, but before that, their rapid testing and qualification. And then the nasal swabs were produced by many labs around the country. In fact, dental labs, normally producing things like dentures and fixtures, switched over their 3D printing capacity, and that produced and is still producing nasal swabs in large quantities. There are still limitations. It's not able to replace existing manufacturing capacity. For instance, when supply chains were disrupted for components of automobiles, it's not like 3D printing can step in. We have the idea that in the future, 3D printing will play a bigger role, and that future is very bright, but we're still far from it. That said, crisis or not, these principles of agility will transfer for a generation to come. In the past year, we're starting to transition from not only 3D printing with established materials, but also designing materials specifically for 3D printing. And I think we're just scratching the surface there. We're starting to realize metals in 3D printing that have properties that cannot be conventionally achieved. For instance, higher strength aluminum alloys or steels that are better for manufacturing of tooling, to polymers that have better stretchability or, again, higher toughness or better impact resistance or thermal resistance. And one important feature there of 3D printing is that you can locally prescribe the process condition. Much like bone has local properties depending on what loads it needs to handle throughout your body. While 3D printing is still costly in comparison to existing manufacturing processes, 3D print equipment just gets better and faster. We're seeing industrial grade equipment that can produce parts faster with higher levels of quality. We're also realizing new processes that can make a more complex set of geometries or are suited to specific materials or applications. For instance, 3D printers that are specially tailored to produce hip implants or knee implants, or to work in dental laboratories, or production of customized hearing aids. So many highly advanced products are enabled by next-generation manufacturing technologies, and 3D printing plays a huge role there. So in the future, 3D printing is going to retain its flexibility, being able to take digital data and create something on demand, but also be importantly specialized to certain applications or certain industries.